Hi everyone, welcome back to another For Those Code video. This channel is where we discuss and learn new skills around the topic of design and development. If you want to grow your skills and learn new things that's coming up, please like, share, and please do subscribe for more. In this video, we'll be discussing on how we can create a password generator in React. Let's take a look at what we'll be building. So we'll be building this simple password generator in React, and we have text which will be generated right here in the text box. And here we have a password length. So how many length of characters of password that we want to generate. And if you want to include the uppercase, we can tick the uppercase. And if you want to include the lowercase, we can tick the lowercase. And if you want to include numbers, we can also tick numbers, and if we want to include symbols, we can tick on symbols as well. And let's change this 5 length to 10, because for now we will just generate a length of 10 characters of password, and click on generate password. And as you can see here, our password has been generated successfully, which is which generally consists of the length of 10 uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. And we can further copy it, and it says copied, and we can paste it right here, which can be pasted. So yeah, this is basically it. And we can also like exclude just the uppercase and lowercase and generate password, and it consists of just an uppercase and lowercase. So this is pretty much working fine. So we'll be just working out writing some code for generating passwords in React. So let's get started. So I've already created a simple React app from scratch from npx create React app, and it's spinning in the port 3000 now. And I have also added some basic JSX and markup needed, but our functionality is not working now. So we will go ahead and write some functionality, and for simplicity we will just go ahead and stick with everything inside of app.js. And as you can see here, all the markup and necessary HTML has been created. And first of all, let's go ahead and see it in the browser. So we have a text box which will be generating the password, and we can further copy the text. And here it's password length, how many length of characters do we need, and here are some checkboxes that we can tick and untick, and also a CDA generate password button. So this is basically it. And first of all, let's get started writing some code. Okay, so before we begin, I'll just go ahead and add a components folder, and inside here I'll go and add a checkbox.js. So basically we'll be creating a simple checkbox component where we'll be making use of reusable component for this checkbox. So this would be a function which will be called checkbox, and it obviously will receive some props. And inside this function, let's call let's create a constant and call it value, and also not values but value on change. So we can write on change and value to be passed down as a prop to this particular component. And let's also return some JSX from here. So the thing that we'll be returning here would be, this should be React, so that we can make the use of intelligence, and it would be input not type of text, but it should be checkbox. So it should be checkbox, and the value will add some props received inside of this particular component, which is value, which can be inside of checked, so which is value, and also an on change can be passed down to here as on change. So ultimately, let's go ahead and export this particular thing, which is export default checkbox inside of app.js, and let's import our checkbox that we created. So inside here we will import checkbox, which should be inside of components, and it's called checkbox, which is fine. Before we write any code further, let's also import useState hook, because that's only a hook that's built in React that we'll be using. So import useState from React. So for now, we will replace the input element that we created with the checkbox, not the input type number, but input type checkbox, with this checkbox that we created. So let's replace this first, which is the uppercase one. So let's delete this one, and we'll be adding this particular checkbox right here. And also we'll be replacing all the checkbox that we have. All right. So now the next step would be creating a state to like save all the values that we enter in this particular fields, like checkbox, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols, and length. So this all of these would be inside of a useState hook. So let's create a constant, and which would be password and set password, and this useState would be an object. So inside this object, we will store everything that we have inside this UI that we see here. So that could be length, which would be default at first, and uppercase is initially false, and lowercase is also false, and numbers initially it would be false, and symbols initially it would also be false. So yeah, so let's go ahead and add this state inside of our checkbox. So inside of our first checkbox, we will add a value which are received as a prop inside this particular checkbox. So we will add a value, and that value would be this particular thing, which is password dot length. So it would be password dot length, but this is a checkbox, so it is password dot uppercase. So value uppercase, and let's also add all the values that we have, which should be password dot lowercase and respectively. So after adding all the values to the checkbox, we will also need a function. So that particular function will be defined inside a checkbox as an onChange event. So this onChange event will invoke a function, and that function would be for this particular checkbox, it's an uppercase, so it would be handle change uppercase, right? So and we'll also add a function to all the checkbox that we created. So this would be handle change lowercase, and let's copy this one. We could make the use of multiple cursor here, but anyway. So and this can be numbers, pillar, and this can be symbols. So we are pretty much fine. So we haven't really created this particular function yet. So let's go ahead and create this particular function. So first of all, let's create a constant named this particular handle change uppercase. So this function will like set password, make the use of this particular variable set password, and we spread the password that we have previously and set uppercase not password dot uppercase, right? So this is the intelligence code, so we'll be sticking with this, and respectively we'll just add every onChange handler that we have. So this is lowercase, and this is lowercase not password dot lowercase, and respectively we'll add all the function that we created right here inside of onChange handler. And let's go ahead and save it and see it in the browser. Everything is working fine as expected, right? So we have these checkboxes, and if we go to, sorry, not the view source, but inspect it and go to console, and we can see value prop without onChange. I think we should clear this up and refresh. So yeah, we'll get back to this error later on. So let's go ahead and now let's use some other states to store our variables. So other states would be this particular input field that we have, which stores the length of characters. So this is the password length. So inside of value, we'll be firstly creating some state for storing our values. So to store our values, we will make the use of two states. So let's create a constant and call it handle text and set handle text, and initially it would be empty at first. So handle text and set handle text. So let's copy this handle text variable and place it as a value to our password length right here. So we'll also be creating a function so that we can keep the track of the changed length. So on change, and we will be receiving the event and make the use of this arrow and call set password, and this is set handle text, right? So this is set password, and even target value will be passed down as a parameter. So let's create a function for set password and const set password, which would be not set password but set password length, which would receive this particular event as a parameter. And inside here, it's the same that we have here from the intelligence, which would be set password, that would receive some value right here. And let's add that val right here. All right, so this particular set password length should match this particular set password. So let's go ahead and call this password set password length to this, and yeah. So now let's add set handle text. So this set handle text should be right here, because after calling this particular function, that would be setting the value of this particular state. So now let's go ahead and add another piece of state. So this piece of state would be for copy event after we copy this particular copy text. So we will be using two variables that would be copied and set copied, and initially that would be false. So firstly, let's go ahead and write this copied and set copied inside of our button, which should be the copy button. So right here. So initially it would be false. So what we can do here is we'll create on click event, which would like trigger a function, and inside this function we will check if the handle text dot length is greater than 0, then this should be inside of here, and if it's greater than 0, then we will be using making the use of navigator dot clipboard, which is a native browser event to copy text. Clipboard dot write text, and have our handle handle text right here. So we will also be setting set copied to true, and after some time interval we will be just reverting back set copy to false. So set interval, this would set copy to false, and this would set the copy to false in like 2000 millisecond. All right, so after adding this, then we can change this particular copy text text, right? So with this piece of state that we added, set copied true. So if it's copied, then we will add copied, and if it's not, we will just add copy text. All right, so this is pretty much it. So let's go ahead and write some code for generating the password. So before we move forward to writing some function for our generate password, we forgot one thing, which is we haven't really taken care of this particular input field where we have the password generated, right? So let's go ahead and add a value to this. So for that value, we have already created handle text, and that particular value, let's remove that hard-coded value that we have here, and let's replace it with the state that we added, which is handle text. And also we need to change add some onChange handler to this one. So we will add onChange, and this onChange would receive an event because we need to access the value. And we will also be writing set handle text to this particular event.target.value. So set handle text, it should be set handle text, and this is the same. Let's go ahead and save it. And it looks like set handle text is not defined. Let's see why. We have a typo here, so it should be uppercase set handle text, and everything should be working fine. All right, so let's dive into writing some functionality for generate our password. So to generate our password, we will call this function generate password. So inside here, let's write click on click event, which would be invoking a function called generate password. And we haven't really created this function yet, so let's go ahead and create that particular function. Let's declare a function first and write generate password, and inside here we will be just having something like this, right? So it already generated me some piece of code, but we won't be really sticking into this piece of code. So we will be writing something similar, which would be we will create a const which stores an array of numbers. So numbers array, and it should be number array, and that can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9, thanks to the intelligence. And let's also add another constant, and let's call it symbols array, and we will add some symbols array. And let's also add a constant, and let's add character codes, which would generate some character codes for us. And we'll be using a method called array.from. Basically, this is a static method which creates a new cell copies array instance from an array iterable or iterable objects. So and we want to create array of 26. Let's map this over, and we will be making the use of e and taking the I there and make the use of this, and also we will be adding 97 to generate some Unicodes, Unicode values. So let's also create another constant because we have the Unicode values there. Firstly, we want to stick with the lower case letters, and that would be character codes.map, and this is all right thanks to the GitHub Copilot. I think that's activated, or I don't know, it's a tab 9. It really helps. So basically string dot from character code is a method which converts the Unicode values that we created here to characters. So now we will add a constant and call uppercase letters, and that would be lowercase letters dot map, and take a letter as a parameter and turn it to uppercase with dot uppercase method, which is what we wanted. All right, so now let's go ahead and destructure this so that we can use these values inside another function that we create. So add a constant and give length uppercase, lowercase, numbers and symbols from password gen. So this password gen should be this set password. It's not password gen, but it's set password. Basically, this stores all the values that we have here inside this. So we are just accessing everything that's stored inside of our use state, and we have destructured it. And now let's go ahead and create a constant and call it generate the word, and that function would receive everything that's destructured right here. So let's go ahead and copy and paste it, and inside this function we'll make the use of that particular thing that we have. We will be creating a constant available characters, and available characters should be an array. So inside here we will pretty much stick with what we have in the like auto code suggestion, which would spread out the uppercase. If there is an uppercase, we will go with the values, and if there is a lowercase, we will add spread it out and add these values inside this array. And if there is a number, and if there is a symbol. Yeah, so let's go ahead and now create a constant and call it shuffle array, because we want to shuffle this array. And to shuffle this array, we will make the use of pass the array here, and inside here we will have our array dot. So we can shuffle this array with array dot sort, which would be just this, right? So it would be this, which is fine. So now let's create characters, constant characters, and this would receive this shuffle array. We can further reduce this by just like this, and let's create another constant here. So let's create a constant and call it characters, and we will make the use of this shuffle array and pass down available characters here, dot available characters, and we will just slice this particular array to our respective length that's received as a parameter here. So slice with 0 comma length. So after like having this, let's call our set handle text, which basically sets the value of our text that has been generated. And we can write characters dot join, and we will join everything that is inside this character variable that we stored here. So it should be join. All right, so this should be shuffle array right here, and we should be passing this as a parameter here. All right, so after adding this, let's go ahead and return something. So we can return characters from here, right? So let's return characters, and now the ultimate thing that we need to do is invoke the function. Let's invoke this particular generate. We have a typo here. It should be generate the word, and let's call that particular function with these destructure values that we have, which should be length, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. All right, so this is fine. Well, let's go ahead and format this and save this. And looks like we have an error here, lowercase letters. We have a typo. We don't have a password length generated. Let's see why. This should be password dot length, and let's go ahead and save it, and we have the 5 there. Let's include the uppercase, just uppercase for now, and generate. We really don't have any working thing. Now let's check it in the browser, and we can see here our password has been generated with 5 characters. There is another bug here, so let me check. So everything looks fine. Let's go ahead and check it in the browser. Go ahead and refresh, and let's change this default 5 to 10 and include uppercase and just lowercase and generate. And let's go ahead and check the numbers, generate. We have few numbers here, and let's also include symbols. It was like having object here in the value, and we have everything that's generated. Let's go ahead and keep 15 here, and looks like everything is working fine. Also our copy text is also working. So this is basically it. So guys, in this video we learned about how we can create a simple password generator in React. I hope you learned something new from this. If you want to learn more around the topic of design and development, please like, share, and subscribe with a click down below. I'll be making more better videos. Thanks a lot guys. See you in the next one.